Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Community Services Committee meeting of September 26, 2023 to order. Grimsby is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattawandrock, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The regional municipality of Niagara-Grimsby stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest? Okay, seeing none, we will move to the approval of the agenda. I will ask our deputy clerk to discuss the amendment.
Through you, Chair, we do have one amendment to the agenda. We have a notice of motion from Member Bennett that will be brought forward under other business.
Can I get a mover and seconder to approve the agenda as amended? Okay, moved by Member Bennett and seconded by Member Breather. Resolved that the September 26, 2023 Community Services Committee agenda be approved as amended. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Item number 6, receipt of previous minutes. Next will be receiving the previous minutes. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Okay, moved by Member Bennett, seconded by Councillor DeFlavio. Resolved that the following minutes be received. Community Services Committee, August 24th, 2023. Age-Friendly Advisory Committee, September 19th, 2023. Grimsby Green Advisory Committee, September 20th, 2023. Culture Advisory Committee, September 7th, 2023. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Moving on to discussion reports, item 8. We have first up a report on the Grimsby Santa Claus Parade road closure. Can I please get a mover and a seconder to put this on the floor for discussion? Okay, moved by Councillor Korstanji, seconded by Councillor Howe. And if we could please have our Director of Community Services start this discussion.
Thank you, Chair. So I think we are often among the first to start talking about Christmas, so I apologize in advance for that. So this is our annual road closure request for the Santa Claus Parade, keeping the same date and route and information as previous years. So it'll be the first Saturday of December, which is December the 2nd for this year. We do have our Chair, Robin Bradley, returning once again, and the theme this year is going to be classic Christmas movies. So that'll be something fun. The committee's just getting underway to get their works going, and just looking to put forward our road request with the region.
Are there any questions from the committee? Oh, okay. Resolved that report, Resolved that report DCS 2326, 2023, Grimsby Santa Claus Parade Road Closure Report dated September 26, 2023 be received, and that council endorse the event-related road closures on Livingston Avenue, Main Street West on Saturday, December 2nd, 2023 for the purpose of accommodating the parade. And 2, that staff be requested to forward the request to the Regional Municipality of Niagara for their approval. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Now we have a Community Services Department update report. Can I get a mover and a seconder to get this on the floor? Okay, moved by Member Bennett, seconded by Councillor DeFlavio. And again, if I can ask for an update from our Director of Community Services, please.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just run through a few of these pieces quickly and then happy to address any questions. Our Fall Community Services Leisure Guide was published and registration is underway with a really great start to registration, and that is attached in your appendix as well. Casablanca Waterfront Park is moving along quite a bit. We shared an update in the report here in terms of what works is occurring, but I know more work has occurred since then as well. And you're starting to see some of the pathways take shape, which is exciting work down there. They are pretty much on schedule, maybe a slight delay, but more or less they are right where they want to be, which is great news. Peach King Center expansion update. We do have an open house tomorrow evening at the Peach King Center in the auditorium. really focusing on just an opportunity for people to see the designs, meet the project team, hear some feedback, and we really tried to connect with a lot of our stakeholders to make sure that we're capturing some of their use considerations as well. The other piece in that is we have onboarded our construction manager, which is really exciting. Aquacon Construction is who we've selected. They have a lot of experience in this area, have built many of the multi-use recreation facilities in Niagara region and around, so we're really happy to have them on board as part of our team. The community grants intake that we are doing didn't have quite as strong of a response as we hoped, so we did allow a little additional time to try and get a few more entries in there. Online ice booking, something I know was of interest to the chair as well. We're happy to say that is now on our website, which increases the visibility of how you can book ice and also makes that process easier. So we're happy to see that on our website. We're going to start with the ice, or focus on the ice bookings, make sure we've sorted out all the issues, and then potentially we'll look at other facilities at some point down the road as well. This past Saturday at Grand Oak Park, we were excited to have a bit of an opening with that park and the new plantings that are there. If you haven't seen it, I do encourage you to go by and check it out. It looks great. It's obviously newly planted, so you have to imagine what it'll look like come next year when all the plants grow more fully. But there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm around that planting project. And really want to just thank the partners for that, Ontario Green Conservation Association, Sean James Consulting, and also Grimsby Environmental Network. It was a great partnership. We're also looking to work with some community volunteers for that garden that they will maintain it. There's some interest in doing that, so we're excited to see how that takes shape as well. We had a tree planting day Sunday, September 17th, where approximately 250 trees and shrubs were planted at Southwood Park. And we're excited to say this is the 6th year we've done this with TD Trees, so quite an investment in trees and shrubs in Southwood Park. All 6 of the years have been up there, and we really are grateful for that continued support from TD Tree Days. We have another tree planting coming up October the 14th, and that one is a partnership with NPCA, and that one will be occurring in Centennial Park, and that is a 2nd year for that one. Upcoming events now have passed one of them. Grimsby Arts Walk was this past Saturday, which was a successful event downtown, and an event coming up, which will be the 2nd year that we're doing Grimsby Glows Wednesday, November the 1st in partnership with Grimsby Rotary. And lastly, I wanted to put on here the Parks Master Plan. So we will be taking a report forward to the Finance Committee for budget approval to complete a Parks Master Plan. The Parks Master Plan, we did a full Parks, Recreation, and Culture Master Plan, but it was at a higher level, and we really need to get into more of a specific and focused Parks Master Plan, specifically also looking at how we can leverage the community benefit charge strategy that Finance is looking to put forward. There have been changes to how you can fund and how you can maintain certain parks, and so looking at how we can use the CBC charge is really important. And in addition to that, I think we can just really help us grow as we're looking at some different park amenities and different pieces in our parks to make sure we really have a focused plan for that work to continue. And I think that is all.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment that I'm very excited about the online ice bookings, because you did hear from me quite a bit on that. So that's great, because I know a lot of people seem to think that we just don't have the ice availability, but we do. It's just now it's going to be opened up a bit more. So book your ice for sure. Councillor DeFlavio?
Councillor Howe was
Councillor Howe, go ahead. Sorry, I missed you.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Shouldn't we have a dollar amount? We're asking this committee to say, okay, to consult finance for some money, but shouldn't we have a say, like, is it 100,000, 200,000? You know, in my mind, this committee should have a dollar before we say, okay, let's take it to the next level.
I think our deputy clerk has a response there.
Through you, Chair, yes, you're very much right. Anything under $100,000 and under will go to Finance Committee for in-year budget amendments. Anything over that threshold would go to Budget Committee of the whole. This is just a policy that the clerk has initiated through the standing committee process as well, just to give it some sort of threshold there.
So if I may, when we voice it like that, it doesn't really matter what it is. Am I wrong? Probably. But it sounds like below 100,000 doesn't have to go one place. If it's over 100,000, then we have to go to council of the whole. So, and that's, I don't know, I don't understand. We've still got to have a number somewhere along the line.
Through you, Chair. Yeah, so under the terms of reference, the Finance Committee's terms of reference in your budget amendments falls within there. And just to kind of give it that number, $100,000, anything over would go to Budget Committee of the whole because it's quite a large number. So that's just where that comes from.
Sarah.
Yes, go ahead, Sarah.
Thanks to the chair. I apologize. I think what you're trying to get at is what's the cost, right? And I apologize. I should have put that in here. I do know we are estimating, we're going to ask for $80,000. Looked at a variety of others. I'm hoping that that's more than enough, but that is what the ask would be for that. Sorry, I should have put that in there, and I apologize. I didn't, but that is what it will be.
Yes. Go ahead.
You mentioned the community, through you, Chair, you mentioned the community benefits, and with everything that happened last Thursday, you know, when everything got kind of turned upside down, and, you know, we had a lot of kind of planning that we were trying to, everybody was having to plan what happens when all these places that we're supposed to be coming online and they don't. Are we being, until we can figure out or sort out what is going on, or, you know, we can expect to find, you know, the monies, or is it going to become, we don't know. There are so many question marks from a dollar standpoint that I'd hate to be running my house, so thank you.
Councillor DeFlavio, did you still want to ask your question?
So, through you, Chair, so related to the community benefits, it's for, community benefits are something that are calculated for all new projects, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not related to the removal of land from the greenbelt or anything like that. And any new developments that would be coming forward, similar to development charges, community benefits would be, so having a formula for that allows us to put in the things that we foresee as future costs that are related to those new developments. So it's having everything that we want in there in place before those developments come forward is an important part of the process, because that way when we ask for that money, we could justify it. So I'm happy that we're doing that. The only thing I wanted to ask, Chair, through you, was to our director, the tree planting, I was there for the first one 6 years ago at Southward, and I'm happy to hear that it's continuing. Are we able to choose different locations, or is it always Southward? Because, you know, the waterfront park, for example, might be a good place to, because numerous trees were cut down, might be a good place to do some planting next year, if we're looking for places to plant. Because, you know, we want to fill in the gaps that have been left by some of the changes that occurred down there. And of course, it would have to go with the plan that we designed, but I think filling in some of those gaps would be nice down there to have some natural tree regrowth. So if the director can answer that, Chair, thanks.
Through the chair, so potentially yes, that the focus of that program is reforestation or afforestation. So they don't really want to do just a few trees here and a few trees there. That's not really the intent of the program. But as long as we have a sufficient area that can support the quantity of trees, it could be possible for sure. So we can look at different options.
Councillor Cristanchi?
Thank you, through Chair. I just wanted to comment, I was at the opening of the Grand Oak Park, and it was phenomenal. It was a great park, and Sean James was amazing, and the educational experience and all the different things in the pollinator garden was fantastic. So, big shout out to all the partners there. And the Arts Walk I went to as well. So I'd just like to congratulate your staff and everybody who was a part of it, because it was absolutely fantastic. Great booths, a lot of things to do. There was so much to do, I didn't even get to everything. But I really enjoyed the Indigenous singer and the drum circle and everything like that. So I just wanted to give a shout out to you and your staff, because it was a fantastic event, and all your hard work was obvious. So thank you for that.
Okay, moving. Resolved that report DCS 2327, Community Services Department Information Update for September 2023, dated September 26, 2023, be received for information. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Moving on to 8.3. Next is our Summer Camp and Aquatics Report. Can I have a mover and a seconder before we discuss? Okay, moved by Member Bennett and seconded by Member Breather. And if we can have our director, go ahead, Trevor.
Thank you, Chair. So this report is to provide an update on our summer programming for 2023. It was a very, very busy year between the pool and our camp programs. I'll start off with the pool. It was a record year at the pool in terms of registrations, especially for our summer camp program. Very strong demand, seeing a lot of new people at the pool, which is great. Public swimming, we're still seeing numbers not quite where we want them. Post-COVID, we continue to see that leveling off or even decreasing. The really demand that we're seeing is that growth in that public swimming. And our Marlin swim team, actually, we had to cap it this year. We were full. So that's a lot of strong growth there. The pool is open. It's a short season. We open in mid-June or open until Labor Day. And there's 14 people, a 14-person staff team that operates that facility, who work really, really hard to deliver our programming. They're the lifeguards, they're the instructors, they're mentors to the children in the water. So just to do a recap on the exact lessons, I had a chart in my report here, but we had 1,500 registrations roughly. This year, 2022, we had 13, and 2021, we had about 1,000. So really, really substantial growth over the past 3 years. And our wait list, you can see as well, 644 this year, that jumped from 291 last year. Now, wait list, I mentioned in the report, is it's an indicator of a trend. It's not necessarily an indicator of how many people aren't getting into a lesson, because people can wait list for as many programs as they like. But it does show that we are, there's things that we need to do to create more availability in our programming. So I've discussed a few options here in the report that we can consider. One of the main things that we've tried to do, and we've implemented this over the years, which is trying to balance the highest in-demand classes and offer more of what we can accommodate, what we can't. The challenge becomes, as you do that, some children, where we see the strongest growth is in our lower swimming programs, and they can only be in the shallow end. So some of our deep end programs that we offer, there might be 1 or 2 people in those programs. We have wait lists in the shallow end. There's not too much we can do, unfortunately, to increase availability on that front. The other option we can consider is residency. I noted in the survey feedback that we do have quite a good number, 1 in 5 approximately non-residents who register for our classes. So that's something that we can definitely look at tightening up. I will mention that determining residency is a bit of a tricky act. You're putting your address into an automated system, and validating that can be a challenge. Secondly, non-resident registrations for non-full classes, which we have many non-full classes, especially in those upper tier, swimmer 4, 5, 6, that is a valuable source of revenue. We're delivering the class anyways. Filling it with non-residents is a benefit to the bottom line on the pool. So there is a balancing act we can do there, and we're going to do further research on, what's standard across other pools of similar size. A couple of the key stats from that survey. First-time pool users, this one really jumped out at me this year. 38% of the survey respondents attended the Grimsby Lions pool for the first time this year, which is substantial. And I think that really speaks to the growth we're seeing in those numbers, is people who are coming to those pools and coming to the pool and benefiting from the first time. Great feedback, though, in the survey. A lot of great shout outs for staff. I think overall a very, very, very great season. I think we are experiencing growth and a little bit more demand than we can accommodate in some areas, but overall, really, really positive season for the pool. Summer camp as well. I started as a summer camp leader with the town of Grimsby 15 years ago, and we did not have 1,400 camp spaces. We had many less than that. And it's great to see how much our programming has grown. And it really speaks to the need we have for the Peach King Center expansion and the space that we're going to need. We're putting kids in lobbies and every nook we can put them in so we can continue to grow this programming. It'll be really nice to have that opportunity to grow that when we move with the expansion. So this year we had 1,400 registrations. That's up just a little bit over last year. Significant over 2021. That was a COVID impact year. Wait lists, not too bad. But overall, just really strong demand. You know, we used to open up registration and you had a couple days to get registered. Now I say be on there at 6 o'clock if you want to reserve a spot. It's definitely a lot more competitive than it used to be. We did a residents feedback survey for camp as well. This was an invitational survey, so you got an email if you participated. Residency, a lot more residency is Grimsby in camp, so we're seeing a lot less. But again, we do want to see residents prioritized, so we will explore that as well as part of the pool conversation. 33% of respondents attended camp for the first time. So again, I think we're seeing a lot of either new residents to Grimsby or people whose families are aging into needing the demand for those services. So that's substantial growth as well. And again, overall, great feedback about the camp team, about the program that we offer, and financially in really good footing based on the number of registrations we had this year.
Member Bennett? Did you have a question?
I just had a comment. I thought, but I didn't have my hand up yet. I just, in response to everyone loves the community pool, obviously, and it's been really popular. As far as your comment about residency, I know in Hamilton, you have to show proof before they'll, give you the certain rate. Like you have to show driver's license or something. So that's all I was going to say.
Thank you, through the chair. That's something we can definitely explore. I can tell you we have 24,000 users in our online program. So the act of validating that is, again, it's a possibility, but it's something that we'd want to explore in terms of logistically how we would manage something like that.
But this is more for in-person. So yeah, online, though, it's a whole other thing.
Yeah, about 75% of our registrations are online, and that's the way we'd want to continue. So what we've seen others, I think I've seen people try, or I've heard of people trying in other jurisdictions, and it's tough because, I mean, I'm sure we all know, people with children, you're registering at the last minute. Now you can't register because you haven't validated your license or whatever you need to do. So I think we're very interested in the residency discussion, but I think it's something we'd want to take back and just see what we can manage reasonably.
Councillor DeFlavio?
Thank you, Chair, through you. Seeing the camp numbers makes me really happy. I've talked to you guys about it many times. I grew up as a camp counselor. It was some of the most important experiences in my life that led me to becoming a teacher. The fact that we're able to not just offer that opportunity to kids as campers, but the opportunity to staff to have that leadership experience and that organizational experience and even the managing experience of camps is a tremendous experience that has a lifetime impact. So we're doing a great thing, not just for families, but for older kids too. It's a continuing experience as kids get older. I did have one question about the numbers of the pools, and it might be, it's kind of a subjective thing. So do you think that the increase in numbers is an outlier because there was a huge gap because of COVID? Because, there were numerous years where, 2 years or so that kids couldn't take swim lessons. So everybody's making up for that by putting their kids in lessons that they didn't. So, do you think it's a temporary jump in the numbers as a result of the COVID blip, or do you think it's something that we're going to see permanently now and ongoing? Because those are two different things. One would require changes to the way we do things going forward, which is if it's constant and permanent, then we have to reevaluate the way that we do things. If it's temporary, like in the next couple of years to get caught up, then it's not really something we have to worry about. It's something that'll kind of balance out in the end. And it, unfortunately, some people won't get in for a couple of years, or will get less than what they want, because I think you made it clear that just because you're on a waiting list doesn't mean you didn't get in. You can be on a waiting list for multiple things. So I said a lot there. Maybe if you can speak to that and let us know your thoughts on that, I'd appreciate it.
Through the chair, a couple comments on that. So I would say one more year would be really helpful for us to, I expect growth next year. At minimum, I would say we would be on par with where we are. One thing that we're still kind of working through too is prior to COVID-19, we ran 2-week lesson format, and now we run 1 week. So what I only showed in that snapshot is everything since we started the 1 week, because it's really challenging to go back into the 2 weeks. It's not really apples to apples. So I think we do need one more year. I would say between camp and even just like, this is anecdotal, but the phone calls and the interest that we just seem to get even through our customer service team, something is happening in the community where demographically we're seeing this shift into the demand for these types of programs. So I do expect growth. To what degree, how much changes should we make? I think we could probably use one more year before we're looking at making drastic changes. Again, feedback is very, very positive overall. We asked the question, did you have difficulty registering? Most people are saying no. So I think what we're saying is, I think that's coming. I don't think we're at, bursting capacity yet, but if we continue to grow with the numbers that we see, we're going to hit that critical mass if we continue to see that growth. Another thing that I mentioned in the report too is how many classes people are taking. Most people, half will say, 1, 2 weeks. Some people are saying a good 25%, 4 or more. And that really puts pressure on the lesson program when you have somebody who's taking 4 or 5 weeks of lessons. So there are mitigations that we can make, I think, to help make sure we're getting equitable access. So I don't think we need to do anything too drastic just yet.
Sorry, Chair, through you, just to follow up. The other thing I wanted to mention was I wanted to commend staff for the variety of camps that you were able to offer. When I look down the list of the things like Mad Science and the basketball camp and the cultures camp, it's not, I'm old obviously, and camp meant one thing when I was growing up. And the fact that you've been able to change over time and make it mean different things to different people is a really cool thing that you're doing. So continue to do that, continue to think outside the box and offer a variety of programming, because I think, it also offers opportunities for those kids in town that want to run those camps to bring out their gifts, whether it's art or music or sport, whatever it is. It's a great opportunity for everybody to be involved. Thank you.
We're actually on our first round still. Councillor Korstanji, you haven't gone yet. Go ahead.
Thank you, through Chair. So I commend you for being proactive and looking ahead to solutions of potential things that you may encounter. One of the questions I had, I know that the surrounding areas were having issues with their pool hours and lifeguards and stuff like that. So as a result of that, they cut back some of the things that they were offering. I'm wondering if we're seeing a little bit of an increase because things weren't offered in other communities.
Through the chair, that's definitely a possibility. As far as I know, thinking about our neighbor Lincoln, I don't believe they had to do any reductions this year. I think they were able to fill their full staff team. So it's a possibility. Again, we're going to need more data. I think we're saying, what are the metrics that drive this? We're going to have to get more information. But I think anecdotally, we're seeing growth. I think it's people moving in. I think it's also just changing demographics. The amount of young families we're seeing coming into the facility, inquiring, asking questions, coming through the registration process, I think we're seeing growth. I think we're going to continue to see growth. Exactly to what degree, I think a couple more years would help. But, it's how much of it is, what's the rebound from COVID? I think we had huge impact, huge dips. We've now come back from those and exceeded, even from a pool revenue perspective, we're close to doubling what we used to do in 2015, 2016 in terms of volume. And some of that's because of changes we've made, but we've also increased our offerings. So it hasn't been static in terms of the programming. We're seeing it grow. It's growing, and we're offering more and more and more every single year. So I think the next few years will be really telling to see if we're going to continue. And that will be limited by some of our facilities. I think the Peaching Center expansion, as I mentioned, will give us huge opportunity, and to increase that diversity, like you mentioned, we'll be able to do just so much more once we have that space. So I think we'll be able to, I think when we get that space, especially for camp, we'll be able to really step it up to the next level.
Okay, so this is our second round. Member Bennett, do you have your question?
I just wanted to comment on, I guess, Councillor DeFlavio and Councillor Cristangi's inquiries, just from talking to the lifeguards. I think what Trevor is saying is true, like we have a lot more young families moving in and new Canadians as well, and people from other cultures, and there just seems to be more demand for services. And our population has increased since COVID as well, right? So I think you're on track with that from just talking to lifeguards and using some of the programming. So.
I'm just going to ask, Councillor Cristangi, go ahead.
Thank you, through Chair. I agree with that completely. I think the other thing too is the type of housing that we're providing now. With a lot more condos, we have less backyards, so a lot more families are going to utilize the town, the municipal services and stuff like that. So I think it's interesting to watch what we're building, and commend you guys again for being proactive and making sure that, you know, that we're going to be able to offer what is going to be needed in the community.
Actually, just wanted to comment as well that I was at the wave pool when there was an unfortunate incident and a child was very close to drowning, and I had emailed yourselves and Lincoln, actually, just reminding them about the importance of having really qualified lifeguards on duty, and I was very happy and impressed at how both of you respond as far as your training for lifeguards. And I think it's invaluable, obviously, for kids to learn how to swim. So I've actually asked for just a friendly amendment, if we could, just so that we ensure that our Grimsby residents have the opportunities, mostly for aquatics, and for the camp as well. But if we could explore, if you could maybe come back and look at the pros and cons and the possibility of making it just residents, you know, having this open to residents, or giving them up until just before to register. I would rather have one open spot than have 10 people not be able to register, if that makes sense. So I think Member Bennett and Member Breather, you would have to be okay with the friendly amendment, and I'll just ask our Deputy Clerk to read it first.
Through you, Chair. So the resolution would read, resolve that report DCS 23-38, Summer Camp and Aquatics Report 2023, dated September 26, 2023, be received for information, and that the Community Services Committee recommend Council direct staff to bring a report forward outlining the possibility of summer camp and aquatic services for Grimsby residents only.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask the mover and seconder if you're okay with the amendment. Yes, okay. Okay, Councillor DeFlavio?
Thank you, Chair. So I don't think that I think Trevor did a really good job of explaining why we don't want to make it Grimsby residents only, and that is that people from outside of Grimsby subsidize the programs when they're not full. So if we have spots, so if we want to say Grimsby residents first, which I agree with, you know, or Grimsby, to find that staff explore ways of creating a registration system that ensures that Grimsby residents get a, you know, first priority when it comes to registration. Because I know that my kids took lessons at the Grimsby pool, but also took lessons in Stony Creek, and we had to wait until after the the Hamilton residents registered in order to register and pay an additional fee, and we had to show our proof of residence when we went into the first time you register. So it's not a matter of every time you register, it's the first time you go in and you create that registration, you prove it. So if we can create a system where proof is given the first time, or however that is, but I don't want to say only Grimsby residents. In my opinion, that doesn't, we would only be doing it for the pool because we know that at the arena, for example, my kids played with kids that were from Winona and from Beamsville and from Smithville and from all the surrounding areas. It's very hard to say because we go there, they come here, but I would like Grimsby residents to be a priority. So that Grimsby residents be made a priority in registration, I think would be if that's a friendly amendment for everybody else, I think that's a better way than only, in my opinion.
I'll just add to this, and then I'll get to Councillor Howe as well. I would be okay with amending my friendly amendment to being where maybe anybody outside of Grimsby gets, Grimsby residents get priority up until a week before the lessons or something like that, so that you still can register late. But then, you know, so there's a cutoff. I want Grimsby residents to have as much time as possible to register their children, because families are busy, so things do come up, and sometimes things shuffle around and they have an opening, and I'd like for them to be the priority for sure. Trevor, did you want to comment first? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure, through the chair. My preference would be that we leave it open to some options, and then that committee make the decision from there. That way we can say, you know, what works in other jurisdictions, here's menu A, B, C, instead of being too prescriptive, to say, hey, here's some things we can consider, these are pros and cons, and then let that decision be made from there.
That is fine for me. Councillor Howe, did you have anything else? No? Okay.
Okay, so I think if I could. So through you, Chair, I think I've captured it. I've got that the Community Services Committee recommend council direct staff to bring a report forward exploring how summer camp and aquatic services can be prioritized for Grimsby residents.
I think that's open enough. Okay. Okay. All in favor? Okay. It's carried. Next, we have a report on the free public swimming on heat warning days. Can I please get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councillor DeFlavio, seconded by Member Bennett. And if our Director of Community Services can speak on that, that'd be great.
I'm actually going to pass this one over to Trevor as well.
Thank you, Sarah. So just to continue our pool discussion, this year we did implement free public swimming on heat warning days at the pool. It was definitely well received. We had really good attendance on those days. There was 7 heat warning days in the operational season this year. Attendance was notably higher. Now it's hard to discern how much of that is because of the heat and how much of it because it's free. So I can't tell you exactly how that breaks down, but I can tell you that attendance is notably higher, was notably higher on those days. I think what's really important about this is not only is it free, does not only make it more accessible and inclusive to people who might have financial or other reasons they can't attend. It kind of adds one more option for people who are looking for a break from the heat. You know, we offer the library, we offer the Peach King Center. I think it's good to have diverse options, and this is just yet one more that we can offer residents. So I think overall it was successful. The financial impact's relatively low, and given some of the increases we're seeing in other operational areas of the pool, I think it's money well spent. We are recommending that we continue this program going forward.
Okay, seeing as there's no questions, I'll just read through this. Resolve that report DCS 2339, free public swimming on heat warning days 2023 summary dated September 26, 2023 be received. And 1, that the committee recommends that council approve the continuation of the free public swimming on heat warning days, the program at Grimsby Lions Community Pool as an ongoing operational commitment. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. Item 8.5, We have a report on the Grimsby DIA Holiday Market Road closure. Can I please have a mover and a seconder? Okay, moved by Member Breather, seconded by Councillor DeFlavio. And I am not sure who will be leading this one. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So this may be the first time we've done this with this committee, but when there are road closures, they often will come along our way, and we just looking for council to support the road closure. The area that's being closed is along the Niagara Region's street, which is the Main Street area. Same thing as what you see with the farmers market. So the Grimsby DIA is looking to do a holiday market event on December the 1st, the Friday, which is the day before the parade as well. They're looking to close the road during the evening, and I think really focusing it around a vendor opportunity. I think they did this many years ago. It's been a few years since they've done it, but looking to bring that back, and in the past it was quite successful. So just looking for support from the committee to work with the team to carry out that event. Our involvement's pretty limited. Just for everybody's awareness, the town of Grimsby staff do need to close the road. There are rules around who can close the road, and they need to have traffic safety training. So that is a piece that our staff will do, but the event operation and organization and management will be led and addressed by Grimsby DIA.
Resolved that report DCS 2340, Grimsby DIA Holiday Market 2023, event road closure support dated September 26, 2023 be received. And one, that council endorse the event-related road closure on Main Street West on December 1st, 2023 to be forwarded for approval by the Niagara Region. All in favor? Okay, that's carried. On to other business. Yes, we have a notice of motion from Member Bennett, and I will ask you to read it out for us.
So I think everything will be answered in the motion. It just is addressing the master plan for parks, recreation, and culture, and a motion that was put forth in the last council that wasn't put forward. So whereas it wasn't brought forward to this council, and that's just a matter of procedure. Whereas the town of Grimsby's master plan for parks, recreation, and culture completed in 2019 identified municipal indoor pool as the #1 priority, and this priority was not included in the Peach King Center's expansion plans. And whereas the following motion voted upon unanimously in favor by the previous council on September 7, 2021 by Reginald Frake is no longer valid as a result of the new council being elected in the fall of 2022 and needs to be addressed as part of future recreation planning. And whereas in the town of Grimsby is a vibrant, growing community with pent-up demand for year-round aquatic programs for all ages of residents, and most of this is from Reginald Frake's motion. And whereas in the town of Grimsby, swimming is a popular activity that is enjoyed by all ages, and indoor pools should be a core recreational and health-related service, and whereas in recent surveys around the country, 60% of households participate in swimming at indoor aquatic facilities, including Learn to Swim, special interests, example, diving, synchronized swimming, etc., swimming, leadership, aquatic fitness, and community rentals. And whereas currently the Lions Club community pool is only accessible 2 to 3 months of the year, and because it's an outdoor pool, it's also hampered by weather and is a closure factor even in the summer. The YMCA is private, expensive, and inaccessible for most residents. Therefore, residents must travel outside of Grimsby in the off-season and be waitlisted in other nearby communities for some program like swim lessons, competitive sports. And whereas learning how to swim can be a lifesaver, and death by drowning continues to be one of the top killers of kids in the summer months. And while accidents do happen, giving children a place to take swimming lessons close to their home can save lives in the future. And whereas our community is a lake community, is on Lake Ontario, and according to the national statistics, drowning is the second leading cause of unintentional injury-related death to children ages 1 through 14 years. So it is crucial that all kids learn how to swim at a young age. And whereas indoor aquatics programs can also help people who have arthritis, diabetes, and other related chronic conditions who are normally prevented from doing heavy land workouts. An indoor year-round swimming pool and aquatic program is the most recognized activity for people with these ailments because water supports 90% of the body weight and provides other mental and low-impact physical therapeutic benefits. And whereas the costing of a public pool, a public indoor aquatics facility takes into consideration access to government building operating grants, corporate or private sponsorships, as well as partnerships with other municipalities in West Niagara, as the combined population of West Niagara is approaching 80,000, with no municipally or regionally operated indoor aquatic facilities in the area. Sharing mutually beneficial resources is encouraged for cost sharing to provide affordable services. Therefore, be it resolved that the Community Services Committee asks Council to direct staff to provide a report on costing of an indoor pool aquatic facility for the town of Grimsby and possible sites. And this is from Councillor Frake's motion, including a redesign of Grimsby's Peach King Centre expansion. So I acknowledge that this notice of motion will be given consideration at the October 23rd? No? Okay, at the October 31st, 2023 Community Services Committee meeting.
It'll be the next one.
Okay, yeah, okay, next meeting.
Is there any other business? Councillor DeFlavio?
Thank you, Chair. Through you, I did want to mention that, because it relates to this committee, the Grimsby Author Series starts again this Friday at the Public Library. It's the 21st season. I remember being at the first one back in 2002. That year we had Roberta Bondar and Nino Ricci, and we've had some incredible authors over the years. The authors this Friday are Ashley Audrain and Joan Thomas. I encourage people to attend. If you've never had a chance to go, besides the fact that people come from all over the province because there are authors that they love, the authors themselves look forward to it. And they go to events in Toronto that have 20 people at them, and they come to Grimsby, and there are more than 100 at the Public Library. When we used to do it at the winery, Casablanca Winery, and we had 250 people in the room for some of those author series. It's an incredible event, and getting to see and hear an author speak about their process and answer questions, it's a cool thing to experience. So if you've never had a chance to go, I recommend you go. I'm volunteering again on Friday, and there's always something to do if people want to volunteer. I'm sure that they could use volunteers as well. But even if you don't buy a ticket, all the money that is made goes back into the library. It's been used to buy sets of graphic novels for kids in the past. It always goes right back into the library, every cent. The authors do it for free. They get a little gift, but it's just a great experience. So I would recommend people do it. And Terry Fallis is coming back in November. If you've never read Terry Fallis, hilarious author, one of Canada's best authors, in my opinion. That's November 17th. So if you don't have tickets for that one, please go out and get them, because it's, again, all the money goes back to the library. The other thing I didn't want to mention, Chair, through you, was now that we have a communications person, I hope that our community services staff will take advantage of that communications person to publicize all the cool things that you guys are doing. So, the tree planting, for example, that happened on Sunday the 17th wasn't even mentioned on social media. I didn't see it. Even members of I didn't know about it. If we were sent an invitation, I would have been there. I didn't know that it was happening. I'm not trying to give people trouble for it. I'm just saying the more word we get out there, the more people we can get involved in these things, and and also there's a lot of positive going on, and I'd like people to hear about it. So let's use that new staff member to really get the word out, share all the great things that Grimsby's doing, and that way we can continue to pat you on the back in public, not just here at these meetings. Thanks.
I would agree with that 100%. I was very excited about the communications person because there's so much happening in this, in that department, and everybody needs to know about it because there's so much good work, and we do need to praise you all for it. So people need to know where their tax dollars are going, and there's a lot that they get, you know, from those tax dollars. So please use that for sure. I actually had just something I wanted to share from the public library as well. So, in honor of Truth and Reconciliation Day on September 30th, the Grimsby Public Library and Grimsby Public Art Gallery are offering screening showcasing critically acclaimed short films that explore a range of Indigenous Canadian experiences and culture. So that's happening on Thursday, September 28th, 7 p.m. in the Lounge. So you can find more information online for the Grimsby Public Art Gallery and the library. I believe there are a few things happening leading up, I think tomorrow possibly as well for the children. So have a look at that. Always things happening at the library. Okay, thanks. Okay, so our next meeting, it falls on Halloween, so we're looking to reschedule it, and we were hoping that we could change that to Monday, October the 23rd, and hoping that that works for everybody. So, I think, Dylan, I think you're the last one to say if that works for you. Okay. I'll give you a minute. Okay, so we need a mover and seconder to change the meeting to 6:30 p.m. on Monday, October 23rd. Moved by Councillor DeFlavio, seconded by Member Breather. Resolved that Community Services Committee meeting in October be changed from October 31st to October 23rd at 6:30 p.m. All in favor? Okay, and that is carried. Thank you, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.